Kris ain't setting nobody back 1,000 years. Unless you niggas don't realize there are scum in your ranks, that's a personal problem. This ain't just Kris. There's other people.
I feel like this is that Grim Reaper meme where he's going down, knocking on everybody's door, you know, one by one.
Did he
going
Drake?
From one predator influencer to the next predator influencer. And here we are today getting Kris Tyson from MrBeast out of here. So I had this tweet in this video come across my timeline and I knew I had to stop and make a video about it.
This ain't true. And this screenshot is Kris Tyson talking one-on-one with him. And at this point, he would have been 16. Here is the picture of them meeting up together. And as you can see right there.
Right there. Who's that? That's his mom. This kid's, Lava said his mom was there. And there is a photo of his mom's arm. This is a feminine body, older. This has to be somebody's mother. Because Lava said when he went to meet Kris and this dude, not in the woods, but they went to meet up somewhere because MrBeast was shooting a video. And boom, they pulled up on him. Lava said, I brought my whole family. So nothing happened. Which, that's his mom.
There's Carl right there. There's Kris Tyson right there. Kris Tyson was talking to this guy since he was 13. Kris Tyson was in college. The moment he was able to drive, he takes a camper van out in the middle of the woods, which, by the way, very secluded area. Why did he take a camper van out to see him and take it out in the middle of the woods in this secluded area? And then he met up with him like...
Was the camper van the only thing he had? Like... You know what I'm saying? Was that the only car he had at the time? Because he did say his parents was there and he was supervised. Even though he was 16, they were like, hey, we don't want you meeting strangers.
2 days later, like the picture was posted.
So Ava Kris Tyson, formerly a part of MrBeast staff and MrBeast friend, is a confirmed groomer, pedophile. Okay. Now, it has been brought to the light that Kris was only able to make these connections with these people or the inappropriate connections with these minors because of the relationship that he had with MrBeast and the stature that he held on the channel and the platform.
I got a weird snap from Kris. And then as you guys can see right here, there's a screenshot of the snap. Up in the left-hand top corner there, you can see from Christopher. And then there's a picture of Kris in front of the American flag. And there's text that Kris displayed. And the text says, "Coming for America."
That is edgy. That is like the edgiest thing of edgy. Because he's looking up, he's like, oh, this is actually pretty funny. Oh man, see, I'm telling you, Kris as a dude was trying too hard to be just funny, edgy white dude. To me, this is a try hard, but to other people, this is inappropriate. Which, I get it.
Like C-U-M-M-I-N-G. And also just keep in mind that Lava right here, if you do the math with this being January 26, 2019, Lava right here would have been 15 years old. And as for how old Kris would be here, Kris would have been 22 and a half years old. Now, moving a little bit further in the video, Prism talks about how Kris and Lava met. And that was apparently because Lava won a challenge that MrBeast was doing. And Lava received a signed knife from MrBeast.
Oh, right.
He was
CSGO.
16. He was in a MrBeast video. He asked Jimmy, how hard do you want it? What I want to start out with is when this guy was really young, he won some sort of competition or was involved, and he DM'd MrBeast on Twitter and got sent a knife signed by MrBeast. It was a CSGO Karambit. That seems to be the first interaction that I can tell.
And I don't think that there's anything wrong with the kid participating in the challenge, winning something from their favorite content creator, whatever the case may be. What I do think is disgusting is that Kris is taking advantage of the participants of the challenge because he has this stature and using the place that he is in to get the information from the person and continuing conversation whilst
basically using giveaway and other information to connect with people. And maybe Kris should have known, like, hey, this is not how you connect with people as the older figure in the moment, because he ain't 25 as adulthood. He wasn't 25 at this point. So even as older as he was, if you're connecting with someone on any type of level, you should know, hey, don't go through the giveaway and how we email them and all this other stuff to get the information. Don't do that. Because obviously the only way Kris got to this person was through DMs that Jimmy said, yeah, I'm giving it away to this person.
still holding above the head of this person this power dynamic that, hey, I am Mr. Beast's friend, I am working at the company, I can potentially do X, Y, and Z. Who knows what could have been said further between them two with the use of Mr. Beast as like this catalyst. Ultimately, I think stuff like that is lame anyway. Like getting play from somebody who is of age when you're using somebody else's name. Yo, I'm Drake's homeboy, I'm I'm LeBron's guy, whatever.
Yo, I'm Cassinet cousin type of shit. Yeah, niggas be
whatever.
wild.
To me is weird. Now I know people do it, but specifically when you do it for a minor, that is crazy.
Kris on March 26, 2018 put out a tweet and he said, I really enjoy playing Fortnite. Would you guys want to watch me stream? And then he put up a poll, and then Lava responds and he says, please stream again, in all caps. Kris responds, thanks dad. You want to moderate it? Kris was how old during this? 2021? And he's calling a literal 14-year-old his dad?
Yeah, that's very weird. Yes, that is weird. Now, I don't have a defense for that, for a nigga just saying, hey, daddy, do you want to moderate it? Because the dude's begging, like, please, can you do it another stream? Like, begging like a child. And that is weird as fuck. I ain't gonna lie.
Like, I don't know, man. This shit's just weird.
I drove from West Virginia to North Carolina. I'm sitting in a camper in the woods right now. I love Carl, though. Carl is amazing, and that is a fact. True, he hugged me before Kris managed to. Why do you want to come to North Carolina? Because Winky Face. Carl simps for me. I think we all simp for Carl. I know, right, Teehee? Offering to buy me ice cream if
I know, right, Teehee? This just seems like stupid chat conversations of dumb shit that's just being said by these niggas. Like, is it to me, like, I don't know what it is. This type of fucking chat and this type of fucking language and the shit that was used here, to me personally, is bullshit. Like, I'm not gonna use any of this as like, oh, these guys were really kids, they're doing Teehee jokes. Like, Teehee was funny back then. Thanks to Ryan Higa. Teehee. But other than that, this shit is just stupid chatter. Like, these niggas said simp. Bro, it's been a while since I heard simp.
do stuff for him.
Now, another strange thing to talk about in these conversations is potentially some of the phrasing that's being used on the internet. Now, of course, hindsight makes everything 2020, and we can look at
50,
all
50.
these comments about Kris calling him dad, or the conversations within the Discord and simping and teehee and winking. And of course, in hindsight, it looks nasty. But in reality, a lot of people let these conversations linger on and not think two shits about it, because that's the way you're supposed to talk on the internet. But I've talked about this on the channel before, that some of the things that we okay in the online community and spaces probably should be policed a little bit harder,
because it's not okay outside of that. Listen, I've learned this growing up, even chatting when I was on the PlayStation lobbies, when PlayStation Home was a real thing, and talking to people. There's some things you don't, you enter a lobby and it's full of adults, niggas are gonna be cursing at you because you're a kid, or your voice doesn't sound like, it doesn't sound like this for a man. Like, my voice always sounded like this. But the fact that I got in the lobbies, I'm like, yeah, I'm 20 this. They're like, oh, you're lying. I'm like, I'm not lying. And somebody's like, get the fuck out of here. I was like, yo, relax, my nigga. It's not a big deal. And then I have to leave the lobby because people just don't want to talk to you because they think you're young. And they're dealing with adult things and you're trying to talk to people and all this other shit. It's been very weird. Like, I remember YouTube Home and that shit. PlayStation Home back in the days, which you could really make your own character. It's kind of like The Sims. But back then, that shit was then. And then moving forward, it's like, well, life changes. People change. And you stop doing that shit. And they eventually disconnect that shit. So right here, bro is making a point. Like, that's no longer something that type of talk on the internet isn't understood outside of the internet. It's not logical over here. Because that was just niggas talking back then. And it does need to be policed, because if you say the wrong thing online, but it doesn't translate outside of that, it just looks weird.
Because of stuff just like this. I know I might get a lot of hate for that, but when stuff like this happens, we can always say, hey, this was clearly presentable and present at the time. We should have just probably not let it happen. A lot of people want to know why this is just coming out now, seeing as how this happened in 2018. And I don't have any real thought processes or logic behind it. I mean, he was a kid after all. You know, maybe this person realizes how disgusting the actions or conversations were back then. Who this person even is that's investigating and why they are doing this, what ulterior ulterior motives they may have. To me, some of that isn't necessarily even relevant, but the fact that we're exposing somebody who has the potential or even had the potential to do this in the past and may have a bigger track record, because MrBeast has done a lot of stuff where he's gifted a lot of people certain toys, trinkets, monies, or whatever the case may be. To think that somebody's manipulating that information for their nefarious acts is crazy. Now, I do want to say this.
Bad for any of the information to be used against even MrBeast and against these people, because that also seems that if, let's say if this kid was found through a giveaway, but also through like DMs and other texts and chat, you don't know if this kid was in even Chris's fucking comment section on Twitter. So stuff like that. And I do get what he's saying. Like, what if MrBeast was unknowingly giving out people's information and someone else was using it? Pretty fucked up.
Star did report, and yes, I'm reporting on something that Keemstar said. Quote, MrBeast connected me directly to the Lava, the alleged Kris Tyson groomed victim. Lava, I was not groomed by Kris Tyson. Lava, I did not meet Kris Tyson by myself. I met Kris and the MrBeast crew with my family present. Lava, I ran a Discord with Kris Tyson when I was 13, and edgy and inappropriate jokes were said. That's it. Now,
all right, that's it. It should be done. It should be solved. It should be finished. There should be nothing fucking else but the truth. Lava said it. Lava came out and said, yo, look, we said inappropriate, dumb shit back in the days when I was 13. Let it go. I wasn't groomed. I wasn't touched. And people don't realize what grooming is. Like, they really don't. Like, grooming somebody is from a certain age to when they're older, and you can is basically manipulating them, using them, controlling them. That's grooming. Lava over here, he's like, I wasn't groomed. I'm fine. I was 13. That was then. It's not a big deal. Come on, bro.
Now, there could be something more to this, and this is where the whole internet conversation gets tricky. This could be nothing but edgy jokes and some of the stuff that we allow to just float around on the internet.
It is. It is. It has to be. Has to be. Maybe. But then there's other stuff that proves it was more than just edginess.
Which I do want to say, again, we probably need to investigate, and a lot of us need to stop and not let these things continue to run rampant on the internet. And on the flip side of that, this could be total Stockholm syndrome, and there could be some sort of...
Okay, my bro needs a thesaurus here. A thesaurus. Because Stockholm syndrome means the kid was kidnapped, he was held against his will, and he fell in love with the fucking person who kidnapped him. The person who terrorized him. First of all, that is Stockholm syndrome. Let's stop playing these games. If I'm somewhere else in the comfort of my own home, my own bed, texting and replying to people and also trying to do a little bit of so-called work and never get paid for it, personally, that's whatever. But if I'm kidnapped and held against my will and beaten up and pissed on and sexually abused, I'm gonna fall in love with my abuser? Nigga, no. No. Obviously, he ain't saying that. But basically, he's saying that. And a lot of people go to say that, oh, bro's just being manipulated and used, and this is Stockholm syndrome. What? He wasn't kidnapped. So some of y'all using the term so wrong is crazy. But listen, he just said it. I wasn't abused. I wasn't groomed. I'm not a victim. Relax. That's it. And it's not because, oh, he signed an NDA or anything. He's just like, no, nothing happened. I think everybody's wilding. But if everybody's not wilding,
diverting of the realities of the situation, because you just don't want to get caught. Lava himself even went out on Twitter and said, these videos are massive lies and twisting the truth. Ava never did anything wrong and just made a few edgy jokes. I was never exploited or taken advantage of. You do me a favor and comment on these videos and tell them to stop. The situation takes away from children who are actively being exploited every day online. I am not a victim of anything being claimed in these videos, or not at all.
He's not a victim. The nigga is saying, I am not a victim. I have not been groomed, sexually assaulted. And I love how he comes out and says, you're taking away validity from someone who was abused, someone who is a victim. And this is the biggest part. If bro is saying, I'm not a victim, what is the fucking problem? If he's coming out and saying it, what's the problem? This is a tweet. How much did they pay you? Zero. Literally nothing happened. Now, if nothing happened, imagine being the dude that everybody's talking about, and imagine you being pissed off enough to be like, yo, look, nothing happened, relax, chill the fuck out, I'm over here doing my thing, it's not a big deal, SMD.
Not even the comments section asks, how much did they pay you? Lava comes out and says $0 at all. Now again, Kris is no saint, because we've seen the edgy jokes that...
Now, but if Kris is no saint, that's fine. But everybody's saying Lava was abused, sexually assaulted, a victim, groomed. That's not the truth. That's literally not the truth. And imagine being the person being called a victim and coming the fuck out and people still saying you're a victim or you're being paid. Nigga, what? Imagine standing on True Business and being told you was raped and confused. Nigga, what? Come on, my guy. Come on, my guy. Shit is crazy, G. I can never imagine in my life that if you are the victim of said actions and you speak out, oh, you still a victim. What? Oh, they paid you. I'm telling you I wasn't abused. What the fuck are y'all talking about? I'm sorry for this kid.
Kris has been putting online when Kris was Kris and not Ava. Back in the day, there used to be racist jokes. There used to be a lot of sexual jokes. And that's what this person talks about is going on in their video. A Cheeto says, I have no idea who you are and never mentioned you in my video. You need to stop lying. My video focuses on Kris Tyson's history of engaging.
You probably have mentioned him in your video. If his name is Lava, yeah, nigga, he's Lava GS. That's him, nigga. You mentioned him in your video, so niggas be out here stupid.
With art that depicts minors sexually, which I find deplorable. If there is something I'm missing, do let me know. Now, I don't think it's a coincidence that this video was put out at this specific time when a lot of people are on the internet calling Ava or Kris a groomer. I think this person took advantage of that time period. So don't get it twisted. Their hands aren't squeaky clean. But then again, how squeaky clean do your hands need to be when there is some suspicion about some of the things that Kris has going on in the past that
But maybe, okay, I've said this before. I can't hold you to your past unless you've learned from it. But if you haven't learned, then your past comes back to bite you in the ass. Let's say I said some shit, done some shit, and my past comes back to bite me in the ass. What am I going to do? I'm not going to apologize. I'm like, yeah, I did that. Cool, bye. I'm moving on because I did it. I understood the actions of what I did at the time. I don't have to explain myself to anybody. I don't have to apologize to anybody because that's not how the fuck it's happening. But people are going to say, no, you need to apologize because this was wrong. Yeah, nigga, I know it was wrong. I didn't remove the tweet. I kept it up. Learning lesson from fucking life. But Kris, obviously, before he transitioned, and even if it's now, is he still the same person? I don't know. Probably, yeah. Even though his body's changed, his mind is still the same, still intact, still the same nigga, still working with his boy Jimmy, still doing shit. Is he doing the same deplorable things he was doing before? No, I personally don't think so. Unless we're wrong and he's doing it on the low. But your actions speak louder than your words, and the internet shows you people. It does.
Probably should be brought to the light. Now, with all this news coming out, the damage control is on.
But we don't know these people. That is also a problem. We know of what you're doing, but does that speak for your whole character? Depends.
Full effect. So it's not crazy to say that everything between the story of Kris not being involved in MrBeast's day-to-day operations anymore as much due to, you know, raising the kids, or the alleged victim denying any of the claims, all the way to Kris deleting all her tweets on Twitter. This could all be a result of trying to escape the rightful persecution that is truly deserved in this situation. Now, just to clarify why MrBeast is involved, Kris was a prominent figure on MrBeast's channel, not only a childhood friend, but was a mainstay and face on the gaming channel, the main channel, the philanthropy philanthropy channel. And in 2023, Kris underwent a transformation of taking hormones to go from man to woman and turn Kris to Ava. Now, around the same time, Kris was rumored to had been let go by the MrBeast team. I don't know if you guys remember that.
After Jimmy and the crew traveled the world, people noticed that Kris wasn't in any of the photos, and it led them to believe that he was fired because of all the hate. But Kris just posted this video.
Just because I want to spend time with Tucker and he's traveling a lot, I'm just gonna come and go as I please. I came to Japan and I left when I pleased.
Now, the reason why this is important is because MrBeast goes to bat for his friends a lot. But
imagine just going to bat for your homies, because a lot of shit, you stick up for niggas, you defend niggas, and shit happens and you're just like, yo, this is my boy. Like, what y'all talking about? You don't know nothing in these circles. And it's true. I've said this once again, but even with the whole Vic Miana shit and all of the voice actors, you don't know shit behind the scenes. We don't know what really happened in the Funimation studios. We've heard Jamie Marchi speaks up, an outspoken person by one of her voice actor friends who is female. And we've heard a bunch of shit, but we didn't see nothing. We've heard people say this, but we didn't see nothing. We've heard so much, but there's zero fucking evidence of anything except for a bean joke. He was like, I didn't do this. I was like that, like whatever the fuck. So when there's so much controversy and shit that you haven't seen, zero evidence, zero anything, and other people's come out to defend themselves, it shows you the hypocrisy there. But when it comes to Kris, look, there's tweets that look negative or positive, however you see that, at the time or even now, and there's stuff that I think a PC culture is looking at the lens of it. Everything Kris has said then to now can be viewed from a PC culture. This is not safe, this is inappropriate, this is going too far, which is facts. Buying not safe for work art, different. Having it front and center of your room, hey nigga, that's weird, chill. And especially from a guy who draws people in suggestive positions like kids, that's wild and you bugging. You need to step the fuck back. And now MrBeast comes out to defend his friend because they've been all chilling, eating food behind the scenes, doing crazy stuff behind the scenes, and now persecuted to be a bad father / parent. Oh, what the fuck am I gonna do? I'm gonna step up for my boy. Like, look, his kid is on set. He's always having fun. Tuckman is good. Leave my nigga alone. Relax. Now this comes out. It's like, what do? You still hold your nigga down, or you say fuck him?
There's a lot of questions that arise with you coming to bat for MrBeast. A fellow MrBeast employee, Jake the Viking, talked about this Kris situation and basically says that Jimmy knew. He goes,
if Jimmy knew, Jimmy knew. If he didn't know 100%, that's different. I could imagine this is like anybody else. If your friends don't tell you everything, they don't. I tell my friends everything. Why? Because I love my niggas. And personally, that's our business. But my business is, I'm going to talk about it with my niggas. Issues, non-issues, and stuff that makes sense. But when it comes to shit like this, shit's wild, right? If Jimmy knew 100%. Jimmy could have known of Kris's old, transgressions and been like, nigga, you weird, but I love you, bro. But never really understood how deep the rabbit hole goes. And then he's like, bro, you gotta get the fuck out of here.
goes on to say, while we're at it, Kris should tell everyone how old the girl was he was snapping that sent him his first ever pair of Gucci slides. Now, why was it such a hard choice to keep this keto friend around who had a creepy past, or just kicking off one of your best friends? I have no clue. That's the power of friendship. Maybe it would have been the optics, because at the time they were specifically talking about how he was transitioning into Ava, that it would have made it look weird. But these things also happened in 2018, so if he knew, why not kick Kris off this platform just totally? Now, I want to be clear, because we've gone deep into this video. This isn't a trans issue. That shouldn't have to be said. I don't know why people are turning it into that type of content. But I've been reading some of these tweets that say Kris Tyson has been outed as a pedo. The fact that she went and deleted everything off her account just proves it was true. She just set back the trans community 1,000 plus years, and now MrBeast is gonna have to deal with the backlash too.
Nigga, it's not just about being trans and the trans community. Listen, there's already weirdos in the trans community. They're trying to make being a pedophile a sexual orientation. Like, let's stop the bullshit, okay? Kris Tyson ain't setting nobody back. There's outliers and wolves in sheep clothing in your communities, and you are not gonna stick up and say something. Listen, even in the black community, a lot of shit that they don't stick up for and say when it comes to the men and women in their community, even in the hoods and the ghettos and shit and weird shit that happens to boys and girls. A lot of people don't speak up for that shit and they keep abusers around. The same shit goes for everybody. Just because there's people just like you amongst your ranks, they represent your entire community? No. Kris doesn't represent the entire trans community. Just like I'm black and I don't represent the entire black community. I represent myself. People say when you leave your house, you represent your mother and your father. As a kid, when you get older now and you have your own family, you represent who? You and your family. You don't represent your mother and your father no more, except the values that they instilled in you. That's different. You trans, you do represent the entire values of the trans community? Yeah, it's called transitioning, motherfucker. What else is there that you niggas have? You transition, you get married, that's it, my nigga. Same as gay people. We got married, we can get divorced, we can have fun, we can go to parties. That's it. You have nothing else. The same as gay people. The right to transition, the right to not tell other people their kids can transition at a certain period, and shut the fuck up and live your life. At that point, those values for the trans community is, I'm trans, I'm gonna speak about my issues coming out, transitioning, that's it. Kris ain't setting nobody back 1,000 years. Unless you niggas don't realize there are scum in your ranks, that's a personal problem. This ain't just Kris. There's other people. Let's continue.
But Kris Tyson. And I can see why some people would feel like it's important to bring this to light and talk about and just put it out there and say, hey, this has nothing to do with that. But it's 2024 and I would like to think that we're past that. But because we still have a due diligence to do on this channel, I want to reiterate that this has nothing to do with that. Kris, if any validity is to these claims, this is disgusting. And I think that this makes it so hard because so many people are so focused on Kris's gender identity that they can't move past the fact that there's a potential of a child being harmed or somebody manipulating MrBeast's back catalog of all the information, the kids that he has at his repertoire from winning gifts, people that know the MrBeast brand identity and are susceptible to being lured into this RV into the woods or whatever the case may be, because they're so focused on the fact that Kris is trans. Like, it's crazy to me. And it's always been a talking point. Like last year when somebody tweeted out about Kris Tyson's ex-wife says their son misses his dad and that he constantly asks her what happened to him and where did he go. Now mind you, this is potential fake tweet. Like there's a community note that doesn't say that this is true at all and people are just making up terms about it, or even the fact that people are just reacting to Kris Tyson and the transformation of the pronouns and of the gender identity at all.
Dude, Kris from MrBeast has now changed his names. Man, I'm glad I have a name like Calvin, because Calvin can never be twisted into some gay shit. One in the chat if Calvin is a good name. You can't even fucking this person is
Calvin's a bitch name, bro. Calvin is a bitch name. I'm not gonna lie to you. You could be called Cal. But Calvin is not the best name. That's the whitest fucking name ever. I feel sorry for your parents.
done, bro. It's over.
Now, this has led to people not only being more abrasive to Kris in general, but to the overall trans community. And people are trying to lump two things together when they should be focusing on the main point. This should be an overall indictment of content creators who have found themselves in similar situations that we've covered really in the past couple of months. There seems to be an issue with content creators abusing their power on their fans. For whatever reason, they cannot stop using their persona or personality or their statue or their status or whatever it is in order to manipulate their young, impressionable fans into doing things with them. Even if it's just having conversation. Or hell, maybe this should be an indictment of MrBeast and the people that he keeps around. But this has nothing to do with any sort of gender identity issues. This is all power dynamics. This is just another case of stop idolizing people, no matter what's going on. Kris could potentially be a terrible person in this situation. And we also shouldn't use Kris as a way to take down MrBeast. We should look at this as a singular person, not some RICO case of somebody potentially being nasty and utilizing power to the umpth degree. Who's next?
I ain't gonna lie, he has a point with that, because you gotta think about it. If Kris is using power, if Kris is utilizing MrBeast's resources to talk to people and abusing that, Jimmy's gonna realize, how the fuck did you meet this nigga? And he's gonna be like, through that CSGO giveaway, like they were in your comment section and I hit them up. because they seemed cool and they wanted to work with us. So I also got them on the gaming stuff. If Jimmy's goes, nah, nigga, that's kind of extra of you. Like, that's stupid. Like, you should have let me know about that. Problems. Shouts to Omazy. And here we go with Jamari. Let's get it.
So recently, MrBeast became the most subscribed to person on the entire platform. Year after year, he has consistently dropped some of the biggest videos on YouTube, and he's the type of guy that really prides himself on avoiding any sort of controversy around his name. And in general, it seems like he really just wants to have fun while helping people out and making these different big ideas of his come to life. But one controversial topic around him and his brand has been one of his best friends, Kris. Kris has been with Jimmy since the start of his days on YouTube and is actually one of his childhood friends. And over time, the audience came to know and love Kris like they do many of the other recurrent people on the channel. Well, you might remember last year we talked about Kris in a highly controversial video posted by SunnyV2, and the main topic being discussed in this video was Kris becoming, well, Kris with a K, and transitioning from a man to a woman. Needless to say, the reception for this video was really all over the place. Over the years, people had come to know Kris as a married Christian family man, so many fans and critics alike did find his transition to be a little bit jarring.
He looks depressed as fuck. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it's weird, but look at this version of Kris. Does this nigga really look happy? He looks sad. Look at his eyes, bro. He looks like he's seen some shit. He looks dark, depressed. His smile barely looks like it has energy. And he looks so, like, if this is the nigga Sneako was like this, he's the personification of a man's man, this is the saddest fucking man ever. Like, listen, I don't smile much, but baby, when I do, I show some teeth. Come on. And now look at Kris. He's got more light in his eyes, obviously from the way the picture was taken. You can see him. He's got more of a cheeked up smile, like, Over here, he's like, Over here, he's like, just a little bit more. Now, happy. Was he living a lie the whole time? It's something I really want people to open their eyes and think about. Like, I think this man was living a lie for most of his life. Like, this looks like a sad-ass, grown-ass man. And I don't want nobody to tell me, oh, well, you know, a lot of men are just sad because blah, blah, blah society. I'm like, no, this nigga looks sad. And even when he transitioned, he looks okay. But this nigga looks sad. Let's continue.
Including Nickmercs, who has been very vocal about his opinions. Now, MrBeast has made it beyond clear that Kris is his day one best friend, and he will always support him, even expressing displeasure towards people who had bad things to say about Kris, and claiming that he is an amazing parent. Even till this day, it's like constantly a huge topic of discussion online, because not only is it such a hot topic in general, but he's also involved with the biggest YouTuber in the world. And now Kris is once again being discussed, and it seems like their past is coming back to haunt them in the form of some strange tweets. Above that, there's also some more recent allegations that point towards Kris having a Dr. Disrespect type of relationship with a fan. First, let's talk about this video that recently came out and now went viral that shows old tweets from Kris back in the 2017 to 2018 range. This video immediately connects Kris with a person named Shadman, who is known for his explicit drawings online, and he apparently got famous for depicting all kinds of disgusting things in these drawings, including underage individuals in these illustrations doing vile things. Like, anyone who thinks this stuff is okay needs to be thrown under the jail with the likes of EDP. Basically, weirdos use this art angle as a bypass to enjoy, though the legality of it does still seem kind of vague to me. Well, basically, back in the day, Kris posted a ton about Shadman, and even had his artwork up at his house in the background of an old MrBeast video. He also posted several tweets about enjoying this type of artwork in general, and other suggestive posts about various cartoon characters. And even though most of these posts are like 7 years old at this point, at the time he was still a 21-year-old man. And this isn't just like some racist stuff or something that there could be like more gray area on. Or you could say, oh, that was just like part of the times back then. This is some weird shit that he was interested in to a massive extent. Like, a grown man hanging a picture on their wall of this nasty stuff takes quite a bit of premeditated thought. So obviously people already thought that that was very strange of him, but it's really nothing compared to this more damning allegation, where people are claiming to have exposed Kris for having an inappropriate relationship with a 13-year-old fan when he was 20 years old. And that this online—
Now, but said fan came out and said, nigga, I wasn't groomed, I wasn't sexually assaulted. The nigga came out and said that. Except for somebody else came out and said something else, but let's continue.
Online communication continued for several years. Shout out to this man Prism, who is the first one to bring this to light. So there's this kid who goes by the nickname LavaGS online, and it seems like he was a massive MrBeast fan back in the day, and even got to work for Jimmy at some point in the past helping with his gaming channel. It seemed like over the years they developed several channels of communication, from Snapchat to Twitter messages, Discord DMs, and private gaming sessions. Which, let me just pause the video right there and say that I already have a problem with that. Unless someone is like your cousin or related to you in some way, there is absolutely no reason that a 20-year-old needs to be having all these different private conversations with someone who's in middle school.
Like, I ain't gonna lie, a 20-year-old who has a job and doing stuff does have a life. But I do think LavaGS at the time, he might have been hip and on top of things more than Jimmy and his crew. Because think, if you're 20, people think you're old and you're not up to date with shit. You don't know what's going on. You don't know what's happening. You have no fucking clue what is happening or what is going on. So right then and there, 100%, people are going to, they're going to think that you just don't know nothing. You know what I mean? But Lava helping him out with the gaming and stuff, that's different. And if Lava came out and said, bro, I wasn't groomed, Lava knows what happened in those chats. Lava knows what was going on then, there and then. So that's the problem I have with shit. Because if I was 13 and I remember 2018 up until now, I could tell you, be like, nah, nigga, that nothing happened. Like, if I'm telling you nothing happened at all. Regardless of how this looks, nothing happened. And that's from me telling the truth. Some people call it Stockholm Syndrome. They're like, oh, he has Stockholm Syndrome. That's not how that works. Nigga wasn't kidnapped. Relax. He may have been he may be like starstruck, but that's it.
20-year-olds should be out there enjoying their life, trying to do new things with people their age. And obviously, pretty much anyone with a platform online is going to have some fans who are kids. And so it's obviously the adult's responsibility to not be in like constant communication with them. It's really not that hard. Either way, he felt so comfortable with Kris, to the point that he was asking him about his addiction to adult cartoons. And they were having a lot of inappropriate banter publicly on Twitter when Lava was only 14.
This seemed like jokingly. Yeah, I get that.
Guys, we are so close to our goal. Oh my god, one more Patreon and I'm releasing my nudes. And this is the part I have a problem with. This isn't a group chat. This is literally just him and this other guy that he's been talking to and that he's friends with online. Lava says, I'm your first Patreon big boy. And he shows that he donated some money. He donated like $1 or something. So it's not enough to meet the goal. And he says, but not $5. Pathetic. Just kidding. Kissy face. I'll tell you what it means. It means...
He said pathetic. Nah, I'm fucking with you, bro. I love you. Oh my God. It's so weird. I don't know, man. It just seems so fucking weird to me. It seems like they're joking, but I get it. It's inappropriate. It's this, and this. But it's the internet. Like, niggas is just like, I can say whatever the fuck I want. It's not a big deal. Nothing's going to be used against me. But then again, when it is, you're like,
that you're telling him that he needs to donate $5 so you can release your or whatever. He says, wait till my Twitch revenue comes in. Winky face. And of course, it continues. He says, check again. And he tags you, I think. At least that must be you, or he's tagging you. And of course he says, I posted some fire nudes for you. Please no share. And this is someone that you're talking to that is 14 years old.
So I heard the fire nudes were hentai.
That you know is 14.
Inappropriate, yes.
And at the end of the day, you cannot be talking about topics like this with someone that is this young.
So at the very least, these two had a...
Listen, the dude got a point. You can't be saying certain shit like this. And which I find that to be too This is too personal. It's topics like this that are too. I was talking about more topics like this as a kid, 13, 14, 15, 16. I was going hard, pause, and saying shit that I shouldn't have said. But a lot of people are, that's how it was. Back then for me, I was saying what the fuck I wanted to say online. But I also knew how to have conversations with people. This, to me, just seems like banter back and forth, little insider jokes. They're fucking around with each other. This is too friendly. Kris got too friendly and too comfortable. That's his fault. That's on him. You should have never, because of the age gap, regardless if the person's having a combo and joking with you and you're like, I'm being a dickhead, I'm being a child, fuck it. I'm 20 though. You should know there's a limit in how friendly you should have gotten with people. Regardless, that's the truth.
A close enough relationship where Kris felt comfortable making these adult jokes towards him, and at the very worst, he's literally flirting with a 14-year-old on the timeline. But by the time Lava would turn 16, he would apparently even meet up with Kris.
This nigga looks miserable. Every time you see a photo of Kris back in the day, he just looks sad as fuck. Like, sad. Look at this man. He looks like a sad, sad man. It's weird, bro. At least have some. Carl's more happier than Kris. And I think they said Carl is bisexual. That nigga gay and straight. Bro, come on. He happier than you. It's crazy.
At some point. And he even talked about this extensively on like a MrBeast Discord server. Now, I do want to make it clear that this guy Prism, who made this video, spoke privately with this Lava guy. And Prism claims that Lava's statement is that nothing bad ever happened when they met up back in the day, and that basically their relationship never really got inappropriate.
Okay, but if that's the truth, but that's my problem. If Lava's coming out saying, this is the truth, what the fuck are you talking about? Relax. If Lava, I can never imagine being so-called a victim and then coming out and saying my truth and everybody's saying, nah, nigga, you was abused. He probably booty grabbed you. Yo, what the? Imagine being the person and saying, yo, nothing happened. And still being told or having the internet accuse someone of being a groomer. Listen, I respectfully say Kris was doing the most, the jokes and the edginess, but it doesn't mean it's right. But when Lava comes out and says, yo, it's not a big deal, that's my problem. Because the victim, the person comes out and says it, and we're all still like, nah, that's weird though. And he's like, yeah, but it's whatever. There's a disconnect here. There has to be.
And as I'm editing this video, guys, Lava actually took to Twitter to make his own statement about the situation, where he says these videos are massive lies and twisting the truth. Ava never did anything wrong and just made a few edgy jokes. I was never exploited or taken advantage of. Can you do me a favor and comment on these videos and tell them to stop spreading lies? The situation takes away from children who are actively being exploited every day online.
He has a point. That's a fact.
I'm not a victim of anything being claimed in these videos or at all. And keep in mind, that's after this morning he removed all affiliation with MrBeast from his Twitter page. And now we have yet another
Because, okay, if he's saying more than once nothing happened, what's the big deal? What's the problem? Like, is Kris still a bad person? Is Kris an actual pedophile? Like, I'm conflicted on this because if he's a pedophile, he's a pedophile. If he's not, then what the fuck? If the person claiming not to be a victim is not a victim, what the fuck are we talking about?
Update where Keemstar has jumped into the picture. He says that MrBeast connected him with this guy Lava directly, and that Lava is denying all of these allegations, and now claiming that him and Kris did not have any sort of private interactions. And then when he went to meet up with Kris, that apparently his entire family and the MrBeast crew were present. I ran Discord with Kris Tyson when I was 13, edgy and inappropriate jokes were said. That's it. So take with that what you will. And you guys already know if there was gonna be one person to defend Kris in this entire situation, it was going to be that fool Ethan is online, who last time we caught up with him was pretty much defending the sick people that they catch on
I don't know who this nigga is, but okay.
predator poachers.
But he looked like a weirdo. He looked like every white nigga in New York City. He looked like the average white nigga in New York who thinks he's like tough and hard, but one punch this nigga's jaw and he's knocked the fuck out. Classic white boy, dork ass nerd. You know, he got the like the artist fucking photos that are like niggas, like a fucking weird. Look at all the fucking art in his room.
So here he was trying to watch the video on stream where Kris got exposed for liking that very strange artwork.
God, I hate how this is formatted like a commentary video and it feels like it was edited by AI.
Why is he not watching it?
Definitely change your mind. On January 25th, 2019,
It also sounds like it was written by fucking AI.
Chatman posted a picture of a character called Raptalia from the Rising of the
So the synopsis is Ava used to like, stop skipping? No, because the synopsis of the video is Ava used to like
He does what a Hasanabi does.
Shadman in 2017. Don't watch that fucking dog shit video. So bad. Such an awful fucking terribly formatted video. Literally the worst
You didn't even watch it.
Time.
So from the start, you can tell that this guy Ethan feels some sort of personal connection to the call out in that video. Just like the sheer amount of anger you can see pulsing through his very tired face. To me, kind of tells the whole story of what his opinion is about to be. Yes, that video that he was watching, it wasn't like the best made video I've ever seen, but it's something that I would expect from kind of like a novice commentary channel. And I do think it was very important for kind of kicking off this expose. But let's hear what Ethan thinks.
Literally just to be like, MrBeast's friend 7 years ago had some inappropriate tweets that were a really bad look. You're avoiding the video? That's the...
But that is, okay. Yes, he had inappropriate tweets. They were stupid, they were weird, they were going borderline nutso crazy bimbo tweets. Now I'm going to be fair and I'm going to be honest here. Regardless of those tweets, we all have to 100% stick here in the ground and say, Kris overstepped the line as an adult. True or false, he overstepped the line. Yes. 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 Me, myself, at 31 years old, there is going to be a line that I don't cross with people. I'm nice to everybody, respectful to everybody, but I will cross a line and disrespect you if you disrespect me. Straight the fuck up. Or I'm going to be pissed the fuck off to the point where I don't give a fuck. I'm just going to say what I got to say. That's a fact. But when it comes to like, oh, if a new fan is following me and they're like 13 or 14, I'm going to tell them, hey, this is content that you shouldn't be watching. This is content that really crosses a line. And if you don't have the mentality, maturity, of understanding of this content, just go watch my dubbed out series for the anime and cartoons. Please go watch that. Don't watch this. Respectfully. That's me respectfully telling a fan to fuck off. But if I met a younger fan in person and they were being too like upfront, I'd be like, listen, I don't know you, you don't know me, respectfully back up. Come on, man. All right, that's all I'm saying. Because I don't like people. I respect people, but I don't like too many people on me. And it becomes a problem. If someone randomly just hit me in my back, I'm hitting you in your back because I don't like to be touched. Because who the fuck are you? There's levels to this shit. There's levels to respect. There's levels to overstepping a line. As an adult, I don't step a line when it comes to other adults. You know, I don't joke a certain way because I don't know you. That's just simple it. I keep my guard up. Kris overstepped a line, which is a fact. He shouldn't have done that, but he got too personal and too friendly, and that's his fault. Straight up.
Whole point. What am I avoiding?
Regardless of the tweets, he got too personal, too friendly, too jokey. He was doing too much because these niggas weren't his friend. His real friend was Jimmy, Carl, and other niggas. He should have been over there doing that shit with them.
The truth that it doesn't matter that it happened 7 years ago. This guy was...
It doesn't matter, but then again, it does. It doesn't matter to the validity of what he said and did because it matters now.
was into some absolutely diabolical shit.
Didn't like most of the internet at the time with Shadman? Yes. For some reason, yes.
So his
half of a majority of the internet, which was a small group of people that liked Lolly art and Chadman's art, and that small group of people was small, okay? Like, relax.
excuse for this disgusting behavior is that apparently most of the internet, they were fucking with this nasty loser who was making these disgusting drawings. I mean, first of all, that just has to be a blatant lie. And to me, the shit he was into is...
If I ask a couple of friends of mine that were really deep into, like, the internet like that, they'll probably tell me, like, he had a following, but it was, like, tiny. And it was minuscule, and also some of it was weird. If I ask some people, I gotta go.
It's just, like, inexcusable. I don't give a f***. When it happened, he was already an adult man.
I don't need to see the whole thing. It's bad. It's a bad video.
And I think that he's claiming it's a bad video because politically it doesn't align perfectly with him.
I'm sorry. It was 7 years ago.
You know how many times this guy Ethan has likely judged people for things that they did more than a decade ago just because they do not align with him politically?
Everyone can be judged. Everyone can be scrutinized. Everyone can be dissected. Everyone can be basically gabbed about because, nigga, that's the life and the world we live in. Is it not? Is it fucking not? But I also have to let that be heard from a very logical point of view when it comes down to these goddamn things.
Like, that seems to be his whole shtick, is that if you're a conservative, because he's very obviously a big-time liberal, well, it's just f*** you. He's never going to give you the benefit of the doubt. He's going to take your words and misconstrue them. But oh, when it's someone who's on his side of history, well, he's going to ride with them to the very end.
I don't want to see it. It's irrelevant. That doesn't make it okay. It's not relevant, though. Is that a gross thing to do? Is it unacceptable? Yeah. But, like, the anti-cancel culture warriors all of a sudden are like, wait, liking tweets from 7 years ago. Why are we even talking about MrBeast's friend? Because friend.
Yeah, and MrBeast has the biggest platform literally in the entire world.
Since this time, Kris transitioned and is now Ava.
And that's fine, but it doesn't just absolve you of all the nasty shit you were doing before you...
Now, it really depends on how... This is what I've been saying, right? And I'll say this with a clear conscience. If Kris did something that is worth notable, that's different. These things, to me, it feels like edgy humor, I don't give a fuck. Tweeting and saying weird shit to niggas, I don't give a fuck. That's how people joke around and act stupid. But since he's transitioned, was he just operating on a different level of like, I think I'm changing and I like something about this, or I like the way I talk to these dudes? Think about it. I know everything I said before was like Kris was wrong 100%. Let's move forward and really open our minds to the fact that if Kris is a predator, is a actual legit pedophile, like going out there and trying to... A pedophile don't mean talk to kids. A pedophile means you're attracted to them sexually. You want to do sexual things with them. This man, Kris Tyson, Ava Tyson, whatever, he's out. She is still the same person? That's the question. And his behavior before to her behavior now it's night and day, right? Kris was trying to be all these things and show out and I'm a man. Now what? Like, he's just trying to just exist, right? And he feels like he's validated in just being a woman. Whatever. But as a man, he was going hard. Nigga was trying it. He was pushing boundaries, limits, and he didn't give a fuck. Now he has to care because of his boy's platform. That's a whole different topic. Let's continue.
Transitioned.
To give you an idea of how fucking long ago this was! Stop being defensive. You follow Kris on Twitter. Dude, this was a completely different time. I was in high school when this happened. I had no idea who fucking MrBeast was, and neither did MrBeast. He wasn't even around. What are you saying?
I think that the point they're trying to make is that every single time this type of topic comes up, whether it's someone actually like trying to talk to someone who's underage or just having this type of peculiar behavior, you always seem to be on the side where you are literally rushing to defend the person who's just being absolutely disgusting.
Are you trying to cancel MrBeast too? Because he had that in his living room? It was in MrBeast's living room. Should he be canceled too? You can't ever defend Mr.
It was actually Chris's house or room.
Beast ever again. Don't ever defend him or watch him.
Yeah, MrBeast doesn't have a bunch of old tweets linking him to this freak and suggesting that he was a massive fan of him. I guarantee you that if Jimmy was doing that shit back in the day, it would have been brought to light long ago.
True. You gotta think about that. If Jimmy's this bad person or this fucking deviant motherfucker, it would have been brought to the light. Somebody speaks on that. And check this clip real quick.
Hold on, let me turn off the music. I'm outside MrBeast's studio right now. Here's a cornfield. I'll explain that tomorrow. I've just been driving by looking to see, you know, is there an FBI raid going on? What's happening? My name's Dawson. I worked at MrBeast from February to May of this year, 2024. Chris is the tip of the iceberg. And when Jake the Viking says MrBeast knew, yeah, MrBeast knew. I heard many times that Ava Kris Tyson is a major liability, but they can't get rid of her because she's already threatened legal action and she knows too much. And when all this information comes out about everything that she knew, everything other people know, I promise you on everything MrBeast has done. Amazon, if you can get your money back, get your money back.
You heard that statement, right? We seen that clip. Boy said, oh, MrBeast knew. Honestly, if there was shit about MrBeast and anything that Jimmy knew, Jimmy would have probably been like, look, Chris, I love Chris. He'd be doing the most. But what Jimmy's seen is Chris changing over the years, not remembering the shit Chris did in the past. Jimmy's probably going to hold Chris accountable, but he's also going to look at the shit he did was like, hey, man, that's a long time ago. I really don't care. But, hey, man, the internet, they give a fuck. Which is true. Now, if Chris didn't do anything to the extent of actual, I'm a super attractive pedophile shit, then we have to really be looking inwards and being like, are we overreacting? Or is bro really out here looking for, is he the diddler? Let's continue.
And his feet would have been held to the same fire.
It shows a bias. Towards what?
Towards creeps.
Do you want to keep acting like MrBeast should be canceled forever or something?
No one's talking about Jimmy.
One time said MrBeast should be canceled. You're the
Exactly.
only one bringing him up at this point.
No one talked
everyone
about Jimmy.
really just wants Chris to come out and explain why he was into that weird shit.
You should not be apologetic. I'm not apologetic, and now you're literally misgendering Chris.
He's probably more upset about that than he is about the core matter here that Chris was on some weird shit. I mean, this guy's brain is so dense. It just honestly starts to make me a little bit upset. Like, how can someone be so confident in this way of thinking and just be so wrong?
You're spelling it the way she changed it to, but you're misgendering her. So I think that shows that you have a pretty severe bias, actually. You actually have a bias that leads you outside of reality and away from logic and truth.
Dude, it has to be one of the most ironic statements I've ever heard in my entire life.
Why are you being defensive? Well, you're just changing the complete conversation because you don't have anything to say.
Nigga, you being defensive. You being a bitch. Come on. Listen, I said it. I've said it here. If Chris is a bad guy, fuck him. Personally, I don't care about his tweets and his shit. But personally, fuck this nigga. Now that I've said fuck him, what's the point? If he's actually a predator, if he's doing stupid, dumb nigga shit, if he's misusing his power, fuck him. But if he's doing none of those things and he's like, yo, I said edgy jokes and nothing happened, people are overreacting. But unless something happened, like that whole 14-year-old girl situation, niggas is wildin'. Let's continue.
Yeah, it's got to be the most ironic video of all time. Listen, Ethan, get some help, bro. As for Chris, we're going to need some answers. Like, in my opinion, MrBeast don't really need to say shit about this. But Chris, like, if you want to continue to have a platform online, you need to explain yourself a little bit. Like,
He's got a point.
Him just wiping his entire Twitter clean, it just does not look very good to me. But y'all let me know what you guys think down below. I will continue to keep y'all updated on this situation. As always, I do want to thank you guys for watching today's video, dropping a like and subscribing. But as you guys know, it's been your boy, the Tan Superman, and some other internet news out here needs to be covered, so I'm out.
Shouts to Jamari, he the man.
Shit. Getting on drum. You little niggas gonna stop acting like my shit ain't the grill. Some of you niggas get your front teeth for grills. And I ain't talking about the contract.
Ain't loving these fake hoes. Room smelling like 8 switches. Room service like 2K. NBA, I'm ballin', nigga. All them niggas falling like autumn, nigga. Talking shit, I saw them niggas. Now they daughter want a picture. Rough, ain't it? Fuck famous. Niggas too real, got the most haters. Wrote a story so Stephen Curry. How it feel to be golden.